I want to take a few minutes to talk about a very serious subject, one that the Surgeon General in the United States has now called an epidemic, and that's loneliness. Loneliness can contribute and is a factor in things like depression and suicide rates, and America is by far, the worst when it comes to suicide rates out of any wealthy country. And there are certainly several reasons why people become lonely. But I wanted to kind of frame loneliness by my understanding. And tell me if you agree or disagree with some of these assertions. Years ago, people used to leave their doors unlocked. They knew and trusted and respected their neighbors. Quite often, people were living in one community their whole lives and met only a very small amount of people, historically speaking. Since the advent of the Industrial Revolution, and specifically rail and more pervasively the automobile, people have been more mobile. They move to areas where there are jobs. And people don't know each other as well as they used to. And I think a lot of lack of respect, lack of trust, and loneliness come from the same places. We don't know each other as well as previous generations. We have to meet online for relationships. There aren't as many places to interact with each other. One of the common things that people used to do generations ago was marry within an ethnic group. And if you were an immigrant to America, you probably lived in one of these localized groups. A lot of towns had an Irish ghetto or Italian ghetto or Jewish or whatever. They had infrastructure for these groups, specifically geared towards a particular group or religion. And I think a lot of that has just fallen by the wayside in this country. The more pervasive and ubiquitous things like online shopping are, the less likelihood that a community might have a central business district. And if an area doesn't have a central business district, then there probably aren't as many places that people can walk to go grocery shopping or out to a restaurant or third places. I've talked about third places in the previous video, and I'll expound on that in another one. But we don't know each other, and we have less places to actually hang out, to socialize with one another. So the advent of things like the internet, I think, has made it even more strongly that people interact in this barrier because they end up speaking to people on social media instead of face-to-face. They use their phones more than they ever did previously. Of course, phones do so much more than they ever used to. And when you get home from working a 40 or 60 or 80 hour a week job, and you have responsibilities to a family or family members or whatever your situation is, we don't honestly always feel that we have the time or inclination to be able to be social and to go to these places. I luckily live in a city that has ample opportunity to go and hang out and socialize, but a lot of people don't have that. And I think even in very large cities, sometimes people become lonelier than they would if they lived in a small rural community. But regardless of where you live, a lot of people are becoming more lonely. And of course, this became even more pervasive after the pandemic started, when we were basically shut out of each other's lives other than using these modern technological marvels such as a smartphone. And kids nowadays are basically raised with these from the get-go. It's something that we as a society needs to tackle. And again, not just loneliness, not just suicide, but trust and civility and empathy and compassion for one another. The longer we let this problem take over society, the harder it's going to be for us to go and mitigate it. We all felt a little discomforted when we ended up getting out of our pandemic bubble and started meeting the outside world. To this day, actually, I still haven't been to a restaurant, but most people have. And I do that for health reasons. I suffer from COPD and asthma, and I have terrible allergies. Pittsburgh is a great city, but it sucks for allergies. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We all need to be more cognizant that we need to develop in-person dialogue and relationships, whether that's acquaintances, friends, whatever. And I'm not certainly discounting any of the internet or social media offerings out there. I'm just saying that we need to go and get out of that particular bubble. And that's what it is. We just went and switched from one bubble to the next. And meet and greet people and be open to them. What are your thoughts? Have you ever suffered from loneliness? And what kinds of things do you think we as a society, or individuals for that matter, need to do to help others get out of that mindset? Let me know, and if you find this video interesting or educational, please subscribe. Take care, and thank you very much for watching.